We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
What do you think about the Laker team now?
You follow the box scores, the games every day? Just the Lakers.
You're kidding. That is really a compliment. I was pleased to see you smile at the top of our show because once the game starts, you have a game face. You don't smile much out there.
I don't think you have to do things for money anymore.
Correct.
What's up, Laker fans? Welcome to the Laker Film Room podcast. I'm Pete, joined by Darius, and an Olympic game, D, that we will be talking about for years to come. A classic comeback by Team USA, coming back from 17 down at one point, 13 down to start the fourth quarter to beat Serbia in a game where Steph Curry was the star, went for 36, really kept them in the game in the first quarter, in the first half. LeBron had a triple-double. Kevin Durant had just a huge shot in the fourth quarter near the end. And just that whole generation still being the dudes for Team USA. Team USA is always has this sort of like pecking order element to it, D, that, in terms of all the best guys come together and you kind of figure out who gets the ball, who's in the closing lineup and all that. And that sorts itself out against a really quality opponent in Serbia. I thought a lot of the aspects of how Serbia went ahead were interesting in that it wasn't just Team USA has to try harder. They're not playing hard. And as soon as they do, they're going to turn the score around. That's not what happened. They had to play hard and well and with the exactly right lineups to end the game to be able to win that game. But they did. So talk to me, D, about a classic game at the Paris Olympics.
So the headliners are the three guys that you mentioned for sure. And I think we'll get into all three of those guys as the pod advances. But before we get too far, I wanted to quickly discuss Joel Embiid and Devin Booker, because I thought when you talked about the right lineups, that those two dudes were the guys who leapt to the front of my mind. Durant and LeBron and Steph are proving to be, if not the team's three best players, the three like crucial elements to this team, particularly on offense. I think when you flank LeBron, who is playing expert level point guard, with the shooting talent and off-screen talent that Steph and KD have, it causes real problems for opponents. But I thought it was Embiid's mid-range scoring and his ability to be a hub of post scoring against Jokic. And then I thought Booker's defense was fantastic over that final quarter, and particularly just in being sturdy and strong and not getting beaten at the point of attack. He got slotted into that off-ball defensive role that I think is critical for Team USA. He held up, I thought, incredibly well and is such a threat offensively. He hit a couple of shots, but I thought it was more, he's such a threat offensively that you can't really leave him in the way that you might want to leave a Drew Holiday or Derek White. He's not the same quality of defender as those two guys ahead of him, but I thought it was crucial that he be on the court. And the fact that he played so well defensively, I thought was one of the driving factors of what allowed that team to be a complete unit and hold up on that end in order for their offense to shine the way that it did.
I'm so glad you brought those guys up. Embiid in particular on the offensive end. I thought that Team USA's problems were on the offensive end more so in the first half of that game. And Serbia turned some of that defense into offense in transition. But I think they only had 36 points at halftime, which for a team that's been in the hundreds, 110 consistently range. And part of that was because Serbia went to a couple of different zone looks. First one was like a 1-2-2 type of zone. And then the other was a 2-3. And I was calling the game on playback and I was talking about this, like that right there is the distinction between why is it like, if you wonder that question, why does a team with so much talent like Team USA get down in a game to a team like Serbia that has a couple of NBA guys, including arguably the best in the game, but certainly not the same depth of talent that Team USA has. And a big part of that is that like basketball is an organized sport too. And so if you're really like, I loved the way Serbia was helping and recovering. Their rotations were great. They were on top of everything that they're supposed to do. And when you're switching up looks like that, Team USA can beat that 1-2-2. They can beat that 2-3, but you got to get to your right spots. You got to run the right stuff. You got to be sharp and on top of it. It can't just be we're going to attack off of step up screens and things like that type of thing. No, you have to get into your zone offense. And I don't think there's much of a zone offense, frankly, at this point, like with just the circumstances of a Team USA. And so Serbia was really turning the screws on Team USA. A lot of awkward spacing where like driving kicks to nowhere, where guys are catching with a guy smothered on top of them. And I thought Embiid was the guy that broke that, in that free throw line jumper that he loves to take was, I thought what took Serbia out of those zones.
Well, also, too, Serbia was also playing sort of a matchup zone and really shrinking the floor in that they were extending out on same side ball reversals to make that ball reversal hard. And then because they were packing the paint, it wasn't allowing for that flash to the middle to always be open. And so you would have had to have been able to throw the skip, and that's a hard pass to make at this level when there's so many big dudes on the court, because Serbia is not a small team.
Well, especially if you're not in the right spots. Like, it's an easier pass if you're in the right spots where it's like, because they're sunken in here, then, hey, how about you set a little pin screen for this guy? And then that skip pass all of a sudden becomes a wide open wing three. And so, but that's the level of organization you got to be at to beat that. Or you got to have a guy that can just kill you at the free throw line. And I thought that was Embiid.
Yeah, Embiid was great. To start the fourth quarter, I thought it was his offense that was just like, oh, we have found something here. And Jokic got his fourth foul. And so posting Embiid and allowing him to get a couple of turnaround jumpers, turning and facing, and really just playing his game. There was a few pods ago, and we were sort of discussing Embiid's awkward fit with this team. But I had noted then that I still thought there was going to be a game where he was going to be needed. And this was the game where it absolutely came to fruition for him offensively. I will say, defensively, he was still a bit of a roller coaster. And on the glass, I thought it was like, damn it, Embiid, like get a freaking rebound, like one time.
Yeah, there were some frustrating ones. Yeah.
So we'll get into a bunch of X's and O's, I feel like. But the action that Serbia was running in the fourth quarter was interesting because it was to ultimately get Jokic onto Kevin Durant. And so they had Durant. This just speaks to the level that like Durant and LeBron were at in this game and how dialed in they were, because defensively, LeBron had picked up Jokic. And Durant was on one of their primary ball handling guards.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And was picking up full court. And so they were doing that, it felt like, to be able to switch and have size in all of these situations. But Serbia countered by then running cross-screen actions for Jokic in order to get Jokic isolated on Durant and get LeBron off of him, because LeBron was doing such a great job of fronting Jokic and really making him work in order to get passes. So there's all of these X's and O's chess games going, but Durant was just like, look, man, I'm going to hang in here and I'm going to fight. But that left Embiid on the backside having to basically clean the glass by himself.
Yeah.
And Serbia's activity on the back line was just too great for Embiid. And like they were too quick to the ball. Their second jump was too fast. And they were just tipping the ball around and got a bunch of offensive rebounds. And so I'm like, here's Embiid, mid-range jumper and one layup, another mid-range jumper on one end of the court. And on the other end, it's another missed defensive rebound.
Why are you in a drop on Bogdanovic? I know I said that at least once. Yeah.
Showing too low at the level of the ball against shooters. And Serbia was running like these double drag screens to get Bogdanovic open jumpers. And they were doing so many tactical things. And this is why the game was great. There's a lot of discourse online that is just dumb discourse. But the idea that Serbia was this sort of like no-name team and it's two NBA guys. It's just like, no, bro, these dudes played their asses off. They were great. And Team USA, they had to dig so deep in order to get this win. It was just an amazing basketball game, man. So let's go to break here, though. And when we come back, I want to go a little bit more into how Serbia got the lead in the first place and then dive back into LeBron, Steph, especially Steph and Kevin Durant.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with multi-view, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action. Make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
So in our last pod, Pete, we had talked about this game and we previewed a little bit and we were pretty bullish on Team USA's chances, but we left the door cracked a little bit for the idea of Serbia being able to have the best player on the court. And then we did not talk about Bogdanovic enough, really, especially in hindsight. But we also talked about the element of three-point shooting and how Serbia had been cold in the previous matchups against Team USA, and that the shooting could even out a little bit because Team USA had been hot, Serbia had been cold, and that's how you win by 20 points. Well, in this game, Steph Curry was hot. A lot of other guys weren't, but Serbia was just on fire making their threes. What did you see from them offensively in order to sort of put Team USA back on their heels? Because that's what set up the epic comeback in the first place.
I mean, just for one, give credit to the players. There was a high level of jump shooting from Bogdanovic, from Dobrich, from Abramovich. Like, these were guys that were just hitting really rhythm jumpers. They weren't lucky shots or anything like that. Team USA was going under a lot on screens. That was a point of aggravation as I was watching the game, where we were doing our own version of being condensed into the paint.
What did you think about the point that they made on the broadcast saying that Team USA was overplaying back cuts, and that was sort of leading to the idea of we're going to go under more and make Serbia hit jumpers?
Yeah, so that's a brilliant tactical move from Serbia, in that one of the things that you do against teams that really like to play ball denial, so to really hug up on your off-ball players and your shooters, is to lift your bigs. And Jokic is going to be lifted a ton anyway. And so Denver uses this concept too. And he's the type of guy that really makes this work in the first place. But you lift them out of the paint. So instead of being on the low block or in the dunker spot, they're at the elbows or above. And so you kind of create this isolation where it's a one-on-one off of the ball, where whether you're on ball or off ball, if the defender's too close and pressuring too much, they're vulnerable to getting beat and getting back cut. And because the bigs are lifted up to the free throw line, you've got all that space to cut to the basket, and that's wide open. And so, yeah, that's certainly a great point. And they were doing a lot of stuff, handoffs in the middle of the floor. Obviously, a lot of stuff revolving around Jokic, but a lot of stuff with their guards too, and trying to get Bogdanovic the ball coming off of a curl. It was great to watch. But yeah, and what I thought that they did way better than any other team that played Team USA was they really neutralized the switching group. And AD is a central figure in that. I thought he got some bullcrap fouls, like at least a couple of those were like, come on, that's weak. But they weren't letting him battle Jokic for low post position. And that wasn't an AD game, right? And he didn't provide that same level of offensive force and spacing that Embiid does. That's, again, a topic that we've kind of touched on a little bit, in that a lot of his really good work is kind of cutting off the ball, working for an offensive rebound, but being a terror off of the ball, but in the interior. And so anyhow, it wasn't really an AD game. And so it wasn't a game where Team USA could switch that much. And that was the point of games where they were really opening up games against everybody else. And so the fact that they couldn't go to that, they also didn't play Tatum, where if they did want to go to that, he would have been made that a lot more viable. But really switching against, if Jokic is on the floor, is very difficult to do and creates problems elsewhere.
Well, Team USA still did switch in the Bam lineups, right? And so Embiid didn't play the entire game, and Bam got some opportunities against Jokic as well. And those were the times where they did switch, and it ended up being a Holiday or a Derek White or Booker even caught on Jokic. And that's one of the ways that Serbia also got hot from three, is Team USA started to try to scram smaller players out of those defensive post touches against Jokic. And he was expertly kicking the ball out, and then it was like either skip pass for an open jumper or swing, and catching Team USA in rotation out of either firm double teams against Jokic or dig downs, right? Showing him to, or scrams. And Jokic was catching them in rotation a lot of times. And credit to Serbia, they were just like, these are the shots that we're getting, and these are the shots that we're hitting. And that high level of jump shooting, at one point, you were saying like none of these shots were lucky. They did hit that bank from the right wing.
Yes.
And when that bank went in, though, I was just like, it's their day.
Sure.
I was texting my wife, and I was just like, I think Team USA is going to lose. They're down.
It was dicey, yeah.
The part that I wanted to give even more credit to Serbia for, too, is that this wasn't a game where, like you said at the beginning, this was not a game where Team USA just had to play harder or focus or any of that intangible coach speak stuff. They tried to put their foot down several times throughout the second and third quarter to make a run. And they did. They got it to 9. Like, it was 17 and it was 11, and then it was 9, and then it was 7, and then suddenly it's 12 again, and then it's 14 again, and then it's 15 again. And it's like, that's when I was texting my wife, and I was just like, it looks like Team USA is going to lose, because Serbia had answers for every single run that Team USA went on. And it wasn't these massive runs. That massive run came in the fourth quarter, but any other team it felt like they would have folded under the pressure of Team USA starting to make that push. It was 2 or 3 straight baskets. It was a Steph push. It was a Booker made jumper. It was Edwards at the basket, or it was a variety of things that any single one of those plays or sequences could have turned the game against a lesser team. But this is where I thought Jokic being that supreme player that is the elite of the elite, right? He walks on that same ground that Durant and Curry and LeBron walk on in terms of being like, I'm one of those dudes. And Bogdanović is one of he's not as good as this player, but he is like the spiritual ancestor of like a Drazen Petrovic in terms of like, I have the attitude and the confidence, like I'm going to walk in the gym and understand I can play with any of these dudes.
Yeah, I don't care who you are.
Yeah, I don't care who you are. Like, there's those famous stories back in the day when Petrovic was a net and him going toe-to-toe with Michael Jordan. And he's just like, I'm that dude.
Yep.
Like, I'm that dude, right? And Bogdanović carries himself in that same way. Probably maybe crossed the line a couple of times and got Team USA.
Poke the bear, yeah.
Yeah, like he got those dudes excited, but that's also what made this game so great. It was two sides, both of them understanding what the stakes were, both of them playing versions of their best game throughout the contest. Serbia, way more in Serbia's favor. Like the knot of the tug of war rope was on their end of the line for much of the game. But in the fourth quarter, Pete, I thought it started to change. And those first few possessions of that final period, you could tell Team USA was as focused and as understanding of what the mission was as they had been the entire night. They knew that this is where we're going to fire every bullet in our gun to get it done. And to me, you could tell from those initial KD shots where it's just like, oh, they look like they know what they need to do here.
Let's take a break here and talk about that fourth quarter. LeBron was right in the center of the frame of this quarter on both ends of the floor. And I think that we saw, as we were talking about earlier with the Olympics being sort of a pecking order proving ground. And there are certain Olympics where the proverbial torch is passed, where it was a different guy, the past Olympics, that was right in the center of the frame. And it was, but this time it's the younger guy, right? That it got passed to. And now, mind you, Steph was the star of this game. I don't want to undercut that, but LeBron had a triple double, played, I think, the entire fourth quarter or close to it, and was just dominant on both ends of the floor. You were talking about his defense on Jokic, when they got to switching at the end, where you were talking about KD pressuring the ball and them switching everything. LeBron is right in the center of that and jumping, passing lanes, being that low man rotation guy that when he really turns it up, he's great at that. And then just in transition, finding the seams, he's so great at exploiting disadvantage, right? Where if you're a little bit out of position, LeBron's going to do exactly what he needs to do to take advantage of that. If you don't jump that high and you're the guy that's back defending the rim, LeBron's going to do what he needs to do to exploit that. If you're on the weak side and you kind of don't pay attention too much to that trailer wing shooter, LeBron's going to exploit that with a skip pass to an open three-point shooter. And so that sort of just kind of his ability to manipulate the game on both ends of the floor is still amongst the very best players in the game. And that's part of the reason why it's like, I know he's 40, but we've got one of them guys, right? He's not the guy that he used to be, but he's still an incredible player. And he really showed that in that fourth quarter.
His ability to oscillate between half-court genius as a setup man and transition dynamo as a self-creator is still one of the best attributes any single player has in their arsenal. I think like Steph is obviously a brilliant shooter and half-court manipulator, but this is LeBron's game, I think.
And that's a rare combination. Those are usually two different players.
Totally. And this is why I was talking about the spiritual ancestor to Drazen Petrovic and Bogdanovic. This is why LeBron James is often most compared to Magic Johnson rather than Michael Jordan, right? And LeBron has 40,000 points. And so he is the game's all-time leading scorer, and his ability to pressure the rim throughout the course of what's going to be at least 22-year career, while also improving his jump shot to it being not only not a weakness, but on some nights like an elite strength with his shot making from the outside. That's how you score 27 points a game like a metronome over the course of 20 years, right? It's kind of unreal that this is what he's done. But Magic was the same way. He was an orchestrator of team offense in the half court, either by getting his own or by setting up teammates wonderfully. But he was at his best in the open court. Now, Magic was at his best in the open court as a passer first and a finisher second. And LeBron is much more a finisher first and a passer second. But it's the same idea. I am 6'9". I have all the ball handling I need at this size. I can change direction, and I am fast both with my long strides, but also fast mentally. And so LeBron, the play that I'm going to remember forever, there's so many from this game, but LeBron racing up the court and him having, I think it was Booker on the right wing, and he could have passed to Booker, and Booker could have taken it strong 1-2 step and laid it up. But LeBron ball fakes in between the free throw line and the top of the key. So he is far from the basket when he picks up his dribble. Ball fakes and then leaps from 10 feet out, 12 feet out, and cups it where he puts the ball up and then brings it back down. And then that beautiful backhand layup that is a patented layup that I'll always remember from the LeBron Laker years, that backhand layup. He used to finish those with dunks. Like I could have seen him in 2008 or 2012. He would have just dunked that and just been like, oh my God, LeBron James. And then combined with the call where it's just like, oh, like that log, oh, that Noah Eagle put it out there. It was just a beautiful, beautiful play. And there's one guy on the court that could make that play, and he was the guy who had the ball. And it was the reading of it, Pete, that was like most impressive to me, even beyond all of the physical stuff, is he saw all of that ahead of time. Like, I'm going to push here. I see the opportunity. And it's that mental part of the game that he has a mastery of that we've talked about for years with him that I feel like is still sort of underappreciated for how it impacts a basketball game.
And they needed every bit of that to get that win. A great game. We got France coming up in the gold medal game. They beat Germany in the semis after beating Canada, right? So they're the team we've talked a bit in terms of, is there anybody who can challenge Team USA? They're the team that knocked out the two other teams that were in that conversation. And so they're getting there in an interesting way. Yabusele is a big part of what they're doing. Rudy Gobert is not. I think he only played 5 minutes in this game. I think he played 4 in the one before. So, Dee, talk to me about what you think about the upcoming gold medal game.
So obviously France has some NBA talent of their own. One of the things that is always interesting to me, Pete, though, is what it means to be the host country in any Olympics. Like, I remember this from, I was just a little kid in 1984. I was 6 years old. But I still remember the 84 Olympics, and I remember how big of a deal it was to have those in Los Angeles. And I remember Carl Lewis and all of those. I just remember what it was like and having the national anthem play when you're in your home country and what it seemed to mean to the athletes. And I remember it again in Atlanta in 96. We were much older then, and like graduating high school and sort of being like, oh, the Summer Olympics, it's so great. The crowd in France is juiced for anything French that's happening in any of the events. You see a track athlete from France just run out there, and the whole arena turns towards that competitor, and they are just backing them. And that's what Team USA is going to be up against even more so than Wemby, and whether or not Gobert plays or Nick Batum or Yabusele or any of these guys, they are the look on Wemby's face when he understood that he's going to get to play for the gold medal for France in the Paris Olympics. And like, just him being struck by that, you could tell the meaning that was just building up within him and his understanding of what it all was. And to me, that's sort of what I'm going into this game thinking most about, is this great American team that had to dig as deep as it possibly could in order to get to this point. And sort of the upstart France team that did not look good for the longest time, but has now won back-to-back games in order to advance to the gold medal round, and are going to be playing at home with a crowd that for once is actually going to be all the way in a single direction. It's not going to be split at all, basically. There's going to be a small little American section of the people that are there specifically for Team USA, and then everyone else is going to be rooting for the French team.
I love this point about the environment. It's going to be a unique one that I just think it's going to be a great game. And you've got a couple of game warpers on the French side. First off, with Wemby, specifically on the defensive end. Like I said, Gobert has not played a ton for them in the last couple of games. There's been some potential issues with injury, but I think that he is likely to be much more helpful against Team USA than in other matchups, right? They've, like I said, Yabusele has really done a lot of the work for them, because I think they've needed a bit more mobility, and there can be some replication in skill sets between Gobert and Wemby in terms of ideally they're a rim protector, but I think against Team USA and Team USA's size, specifically the bench lineups, where I could totally see them both playing against AD and Bam lineup. Sure, why not? And what other team in this tournament can be like, oh, you put AD and Bam out there, we're going to put two really good players and we're going to be bigger than you in those spots. There isn't another team that can really do that.
No, two all defensive players, first team players. Wemby's already an elite defender, and Gobert won the damn award. Whatever you think about it, like, that's just what it is. And so the French game, it's like the environment stuff, but this is where the sort of us against the world idea can play. Like, how could you be Team USA, but also rally around, not just around the flag, but like, you know, convince yourself that no one wants to see you win. Everyone's against us. Like, This is an idea that I think mentally Team USA can use. But I'd love to talk a little bit more about France, Pete, but I do want to take it back to this last game, because we mentioned it several times, but I'd love to hear you just wax poetic for a couple of minutes on Steph Curry having one of the best Olympic medal round games that could be had. He had 36 points in a 40-minute game. I think he hit 9 3-pointers. You talked about Team USA's offense being stuck in the mud in the first half. Steph carried them. And then in the final minutes, he hit the 3 to give them the lead. He had that great steal and finish in transition. You talked about a floor warper in terms of Wemby for France. Steph is the ultimate version of that from the guard position offensively. So talk to me about Curry's game, and coming right at a time when he had not played well, really, to his standards, these Olympics, but busted out with one of the games of the tournament, really, and maybe the game of the tournament when Team USA needed it most.
Yeah, he was incredible. So I think in some ways it starts with Serbia and their defense. They are a bigger, more physical team. And they're also very sharp on their rotations with that size. And so Steph has been guarded like that for his whole career. And so this offense that they're running, Team USA, it's the Warriors offense in a lot of ways. You were talking about this the other pod, where LeBron's playing the Draymond role, Steph is Steph, Booker is in the Clay role. And that's been some, I think, of the awkwardness with Embiid, where he's kind of figuring out, okay, because what he does is so different. Anyhow, Steph is obviously very comfortable in that, but has not played particularly well, as you said, in these Olympics. But there isn't really another team that can jam up the other players and kind of gunk up the works of the offense with physicality and pressing up. while having the size on the wing and on the back line to be able to like just dig in and then get back to your guy and get a good contest up. And I thought Serbia, again, really gunked that up. Also, they weren't in man the whole time. Again, I thought those second quarter zones were really effective for them. And so Steph, for one, is the ultimate zone buster. And so that was the one thing they did have going for them in that little gap was, hey, Steph's going to be able to hit the three ball. Like, as you said, 27 of his 36 points came from behind the 3-point arc. So that's where he was, by far his most effective. But yeah, Steph's ability to like operate off of Serbia's pressure and ball denial and make them pay for helping and recovering. And so, Steph is really going when he's got guys dancing and looking kind of foolish. And there were a couple of times where he had guys like that, in part because he was just a step ahead of them, kind of using what they were doing against them.
Yeah, and there's very few players in the history of the league, I think, that inspire that sense of, I messed up.
Yep.
Then when Steph has the ball and then he ends up with daylight. He has this, and when he really has it going, that's the sense that he instills in opponents, and it's a lift of his teammates, I think. And I thought that if there were 3 crucial elements to this game, besides the stuff we said about Booker and Embiid earlier, it was Steph sort of inspiring his teammates and with his shot making, and then also like the tangible effects of what that shot making did.
Yeah, he was inspiring the scoreboard. He was the only one that was inspiring the scoreboard in that first half.
It was LeBron's overall greatness as a passer, scorer, and then also like defender and rebounder. He had some really big rebounds. And it was, I think, Durant's sort of closing mentality and that ability to say, game on the line. And yes, Team USA had a 2-point lead, but game's on the line. Durant has the ball, and everyone's sort of just like, what are we going to do? Let's get a ball screen. KD waved off one guy, and then Embiid came up to set a second screen, and he waved him off, and Durant went into, honestly, man, like 08 Kobe mode, basically. And he's like, I need a bucket. We need a bucket. And I'm going to go get it. And it was the epitome, I think, of what those 3 players have been for the better part of 2 decades as basketball players in the NBA. And they all did it doing their thing. And it was the difference, I feel like, for Team USA to get that win.
All right. Gold medal game is tomorrow, Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be calling that on playback. Please join me there. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you again on Monday. But until then, you've been listening to Laker Film Room Podcast. We'll catch you guys next time.
James has got it in low to McHale. McHale wants to turn. He's double teamed. Just pass out in front. Broken up by Worthy. Tip to Magic. Worthy dies on his belly. Magic scores.
There's Magic got it. Magic fires. It's good. They will. Lakers win the game. The Lakers win the game. Rebound is Lonnie. 3 seconds left. Van Exel to win it. It's on the way. Good.
Kobe Bryant, 48 points, 16 rebounds.
Shot with his 8th block shot that ties an NBA Finals record.
A lot of Laker fans sticking around for this.
You're seeing something that's very rare indeed. A Laker to get MVP chance
in Boston. Of all places.
Are you kidding me?
Kobe, hard to believe.
Are you kidding me? Unreal. Are you kidding me?
Lakers looking to push. Bryant spinning in the lane. Back for Gasol. Pretty pass. And it's back to a 3-point game.
Kobe Bryant picked up by Bell.
There's the move. 2, 1.
Miss it.
Unbelievable. For the victory. It's over.
Shot clock now to 5. Bryant. Yes. And that was a little tap to Alvin Gentry.
Add insult to injury, Kobe. I mean, what a shot. I mean, you can't defend that. Are you kidding me?
2.1 seconds remaining. Denver a foul to give. Jokic
Trying to disrupt Rondo. He puts it in. Here's Davis, 4-3 in the win. Oh, it's good! Anthony Davis has won it for the Lakers! James again. Oh, he hits another one. LeBron James putting together a closing quarter against the Nuggets.
This historic 2020 NBA championship belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers conquer the bubble, and banner number 17 will soon hang in the rafters.